It's all about problem solving. In fact, I don't know how many of you are sort of from the education world versus the engineering world, but I often ask engineers, tell me about a great learning experience in your life. And more often than not, they describe debugging. They describe some problem, some challenge they had, something wasn't working. They had to get it to work. And they tried all these different things, and they talked to these people, and they checked that resource, and they looked this up, and they did that, and they did this, and they iterated through lots of different designs and theories, and they finally figured it out. It wasn't lecture. It wasn't filling out a multiple choice test. That wasn't their great learning experience. But then I asked these same engineers, okay, now you've just told me what you know about learning. Now let's design a great learning experience for kids in school. And then they revert from what they know to what they believe school's supposed to be. And what they believe school's supposed to be is what they did in school, which is worksheets. Remember the mimeograph machine, the purple plague? The stencil machine with that ink you can still smell? Okay, well, what's a computer but a mimeograph machine on steroids? Right, so that's going to happen anyway. So I don't try to combat that. That's going to happen anyway. So in Sugar, I don't do worksheets. You can write a Sugar activity to do worksheets, but that's not what Sugar's about. What I'm trying to do is skew the odds that some good things are going to happen as well. And again, one of the things that I want to have happen is programming, but there are lots of things. I mean, there are subtle ways of skewing the odds. So for example, I could give you an ebook, and ebooks are popular these days for a number of different reasons, but just the economics of ebooks seem to make sense for schools, at least some sense for schools, although the publishers are starting to change that a little bit too. But when I give you that ebook, I could give it to you, for example, in the very popular format for ebooks is called PDF. Probably all of you have downloaded a PDF file off the web. And when you get your PDF file, you can pop it into any number of PDF readers, and you can flip through the pages and read your book. Good, gets the job done. I could give you a different format, though, that could do the same thing. And that different format would be the format of a wiki. And probably all of you have used Wikipedia, and probably some of you have even edited an article in Wikipedia. But the thing about when you use Wikipedia, you're just reading it like it's a book. It's just another document. When you're editing, you're doing a little bit more. So Wikipedia the wiki format doesn't preclude you from this passive read the book mode, but the wiki format enables something else to happen. It enables you to make changes. It enables you to communicate comments and margin notes about what you're reading to other people. And so if you think that engaging in this critical dialogue about literature, about what you're reading is important, then why are we giving kids PDF instead of wiki format in terms of the books we give them? Simple thing. It just skews the odds that certain types of things will happen. And that's what Sugar's about. It's a whole collection of things to skew odds. Well, not a whole collection, but I'm going to describe through some examples 5 different things that we try to do in Sugar to skew the odds. And I think since I have a little bit of time, I'm actually going to show you some of the stuff instead of just do it. So the first one is again, sort of this idea of learning through doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, this is a memory game. You all have seen memory games countless times. They're a dime a dozen. Is it this one? Ah, I'm no good at this. I thought I saw 16 on there somewhere, but anyway, help! Got one. All right. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, you know, Sugar comes with different memory games. Some of them are multimedia and everything. But Sugar also comes with this idea of crate. And in crate, I can make my own memory game. Okay, so what the kids do is, well, let's make a memory game. Let's look for, those of you who were here earlier saw my octopus pictures. turtle. All right, we'll just call this seafood. I'm doing much better now. Okay, so we just wrote a memory game. And not only can we write the memory game, but we can share it with the other kids as we go along. So the idea behind Sugar is that you just don't get an application, but you actually can make something with it. And so what kids do is they use the Memorize game for doing like their vocabulary and stuff like that. I mean, they just make memory games all the time because it's fun, it's easy, accessible, it's there. Let me go back and talk a little bit about the community. And I'm not successfully online for some reason in here, but what we do with Sugar is we have these funny little antennas we built on the laptop. And the reason for that was because we wanted to make what's known as a mesh network. We wanted to make a local peer-to-peer network within the proximity of wherever laptops happen to be. And that's really a technology around the transport of information from one machine to the next. But we also thought about why do we want to transport information from one machine to the next? And the reason is because learning's not something you do just by yourself. It's only in school that we call collaboration cheating. In the rest of life, we call it being smart, getting the job done. And so what we tried to do with Sugar is make it so that it was really easy to work with other people. And by work with other people, I mean some very mundane things, like I'm writing in the word processor and I want somebody to peer edit my document. Well, I can do that with Google Docs, although when we started Sugar, there was no such thing as Google Docs. We were a little ahead of the curve in that. And the problem with doing it with Google Docs is that it's too complicated. It's too complicated both in terms of process and in terms of infrastructure. Let me do the infrastructure one first. Now, most of you come from the first world where we all have everything, more than enough. But even in schools in this country, oftentimes, even if they do have adequate internet access within the school, they don't enable it in the classroom. So if you wanted to have your kids do peer-to-peer editing of documents, you couldn't use Google Docs because they don't have access to Google Docs. So that's one problem. Then there's the other problem is just one of complexity of task. That to use Google Docs, first of all, I've got to go to Google, then I've got to upload my document, then I've got to go and share my document, you've got to receive the invitation, you've got to go to Google, you've got to then open the document, and after these 5 or 6 steps, any of which could fail along the way, and believe me, in the classroom you don't want all that complexity and points of failure, then you're finally peer editing. Well, with Sugar, collaboration is always one mouse click away, period, one mouse click. So if I do this, so right now I'm in Turtle Art, and let me go out of full screen mode for a second, and I'll come over here. And I'm giving this talk, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button, and now instead of being in private, I'm sharing. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm broadcasting my presentation to anybody else who wants to see it. And the way they see it is they go to the neighborhood view, and again, since this isn't working right for some reason on here, I can give a demo on these afterward and show you for real. What happens is that my little turtle icon will show up, and let me just go back to full screen. My little turtle icon will just show up here, and somebody else can click on it there in the shared session with me. So it's all, so we made collaboration. A lot of people are doing collaboration. It's sort of the hot thing on the web. But we didn't make collaboration something you do out there. We made something that's part of the desktop, part of every day, and it's something that can happen in the classroom or under a tree without infrastructure. So it's infrastructure-free collaboration. And again, the goal is because we want the kids to share their ideas. You learn from teaching as much as you learn from learning. There's value in things like peer editing. So the next has to do with reflection. It's important not just to do, but also to stop every once in a while and reflect on what you're doing. It's not ready, fire, it's ready, aim, fire, and then maybe look to see whether you're firing in a direction that's meaningful. And so what we do in Sugar is first of all, we have this concept called the journal. And Sugar saves everything you do. There is no save button anywhere in Sugar. No Sugar activities have the concept of save explicit in the interface, because save is just something, of course, why would you ever not want to save? So Sugar's always saving. And it saves it not in a hierarchical file system, but it saves it in basically just a temporally ordered list. Because actually time and sort of seeing things progress through time is actually a value. Now you can search and sort and do all that stuff. But fundamentally we just gather things out as a list. Now the next thing we do is we have a detailed view of everything you do. So this is just a list of things I've been doing. This is some more details about what I'm doing. And it makes a little snapshot of the most recent instance of what I was doing that's always available. And here I'm writing down notes about what I'm doing. Okay, this is my lab notebook. We want the kids to write about what they do. That's part of the reflective process. So we encourage the kids, and actually I'll say this, that access to the lab notebook is not as facile in Sugar as it should be, and this is a debate I've been having with my co-developers, but it's there, this is available. But now, so we've been writing and reflecting, and now we want to take another step. We want to then present what we've been doing to other people. Now, I'm doing a presentation right now to all of you. I'm presenting what I've been doing to you. And the way I'm doing it is, I'm not using PowerPoint. Believe it or not, this is not PowerPoint. This is not open office presentation. This is Turtle Art. This is a programming environment. So rather than use PowerPoint, the kids write PowerPoint. Yeah. You see my little turtle? That's my progress bar. So as I go down, you can sort of get a sense. So it's my other little clock. How am I doing here? Uh-oh. No, I got time. You're doing fine. I'm doing fine. Great. So what we're going to do is, so this is a little